Hello students, welcome to AIMS India online classes. This is a chemistry session. Here we are discussing about the chapter Combustion Fuels and Flame. In this session, let us see about combustion. Okay, people generally use wood, cow dung cakes, crop residues, kerosene oil, coke, or LPG gas to cook food, and these all are used for cooking purpose at domestic works, isn't it? And for running vehicles, we use petrol or diesel oil. And of course, some vehicles they move with the kerosene also. So these substances like petrol and diesel oil are used for running vehicles. And in factories, we know we use coal or some other fuel oil or natural gas for running factories. If you observe the materials such as wood, coke, LPG, petrol, diesel, natural gas, these all have one property in common. Did you observe that? That is, they produce heat on burning, which is then put into different uses. If you observe the substances like wood, cow dung, cakes, crop residues, kerosene oil, even LPG gas, coke, these all we use in cooking purpose at home. How do we use those? How they're working? They're producing heat energy on burning. That heat energy is utilized to cook food, isn't it? Even if you observe these liquids like petrol, diesel oil, these all also. These all are burnt in the vehicle engines and that produces an amount of energy either in the form of heat or something other form. So that heat energy is utilized to run the vehicles. So what is happening here also? These substances also on burning producing heat energy. Even these substances also, coal and some other fuel oil, these all on burning, these all commonly they produce heat energy. That produced heat energy is being utilized in the different forms, in different purposes that is being used. So there is a common thing we can observe among these all. Okay. You are familiar with the burning of a candle. Have you ever seen this? Yes, we might have seen this burning of a candle. What is the difference between the burning of a candle and burning of a fuel like coal? Did you observe these two? Burning of a coal and burning of a candle. What difference do you observe between these two? We observe that candle burns with a flame, isn't it? Whereas coal does not burn. Coal will burn without flame, but candle continuously burns with a flame. That is a major difference between these two. Similarly, you will find many other materials burning without a flame like coal. So let us study the chemical process of burning and the types of flame produced during this process. So in this chapter, we are going to learn about types of burning, how many kinds of substances they burn, and how they produce heat energy, where it is utilized. Okay, here we have seen two burning substances which are producing heat energy. One is candle and the other one is coal. But we found one difference between these two. One it is candle burns with a flame. It continuously burns with a flame. And if you observe coal, coal burns without flame. There are some more substances also which burn without flame. And there are some more substances which burn with a flame just like coal. Okay, let us see what are those substances, how do they burn, the chemical process during the burning process is all. Let us see here. First of all, what is meant by combustion? A chemical process in which a substance reacts with oxygen to give off heat energy is called combustion. Burning of a substance in the presence of oxygen to give heat energy out is called combustion process. And here the substance that is undergoing subsequent combustion is called combustible substances. Okay, the substances which are undergoing combustion process are called as combustible substances. These combustible substances are also called as fuels because these substances on burning in the presence of oxygen, they are producing out heat energy. This heat energy produced by these combustible substances is utilized in different purposes. Suppose if LPG gas is burned in our home, the heat energy produced by that LPG is utilized to cook the food. In the same way, when petrol is burned, certain heat energy is produced and that heat energy is utilized for running the vehicles and automobiles, isn't it? And even certain coal, if it is burnt, it produces a large amount of heat energy which is utilized for producing electricity in the thermal power plants. So in this way, these all substances like LPG, coal, petrol, these substances are undergoing chemical reaction on reaction with oxygen and producing heat energy. These substances are called combustible substances, and even they are also called as fuels. The fuel may be a liquid or solid or a gas also. It might be in any state. For example, if you see coke or coal, which is a solid fuel or solid combustible substance. And if you see petrol or diesel oil, these all are in the liquid state. These we can say as liquid fuels. And some other substances like LPG, liquefied petroleum gas it is called, which we use for cooking in our domestic purposes. That is one of the fuels which are existing in the gaseous state, isn't it? So in this way, fuels may be existing in any state, in all three of these states. Sometimes, while combustion is going on, while producing heat by the combustible substance, certain light energy also is given off during this combustion, either as a flame or as a glow. Okay, not only heat energy in the combustion process, certain substances they produce either a flame or a glow also along with the heat energy. So this is happening when a fuel is burned in the presence of oxygen that produces heat energy. This heat energy is utilized in different purposes: domestic purpose cooking and running vehicles, and in the industrial process this heat energy is utilized. So some amount of heat energy is utilized for the further continuous burning of those fuels. Okay, the burning of a substance in the presence of oxygen to produce heat energy is called combustion, and that substance which is burning in the presence of oxygen for producing heat energy is called a fuel. It is actually called combustible substance, which is also called as fuel. For example, if we hold a piece of charcoal or coal with pair of tongues and bring it near the flame of a candle or a Bunsen burner, then we find that charcoal burns in air, producing carbon dioxide, heat, and light. So, what is that? If you burn a piece of coal or charcoal with a Bunsen burner or a candle or any spirit lamp, then what happens? That coal will start burning and it produces carbon dioxide, heat energy, and even light also. So, how it burns? That coal burns in the presence of air and produces carbon dioxide as major product. Along with that, heat and light also produced. In this reaction, charcoal and coal are combustible substances because they are burning in the presence of oxygen and producing carbon dioxide and heat energy. As they are producing heat energy and burning, they are called as combustible substances. So charcoal or coal is all come under combustible substances, and that reaction is called combustion reaction. Okay. Combustible and non-combustible substances. Yes, based upon the behavior towards burning in the presence of air. substances can be classified into two types. They are combustible substances and non-combustible substances. Substances which easily catch fire are called combustible substances, such as paper, coal, wood, petroleum gas. These all will come under combustible substances because they can catch fire very easily. Some of these also can be used as fuels. So these combustible substances all cannot be used as fuels, but some of them can be. Okay, some of those combustible substances now we are using as fuels. What is meant by combustible substance? The substance which easily catches fire and continues burning is called as a combustible substance, which are also used as fuels. Another way, the substances which do not catch fire readily are called as non-combustible substances. For example, substances like sand, stones, rocks, and water, glass, these all will not catch fire, isn't it? They won't burn readily. That's why these substances are called as non-combustible substances. Okay, the substances which can catch fire easily are called as combustible substances, and the substances which do not catch fire readily are called as non-combustible substances. So, do you know this? Why is a person caught in fire? He is covered with a blanket. Have you ever observed this? Any person caught fire on his clothes will be wrapped with the cloths first of all. Will be wrapped with certain blankets. Do you know why is this? Because if the clothes of a person catch fire, he is immediately wrapped in a thick blanket or in a carpet like. The blanket cuts off the supply of air, that is, the supporter of combustion, and hence the fire is put off. Did you understand now? Why a person caught fire will be wrapped with the blanket or carpet? Because this blanket will cut off the supply of oxygen for the further burning. We know for burning purpose, compulsory there should be air or oxygen gas supply. In the presence of oxygen gas only, these fuels will continue burning. So if you cut off the supply of oxygen, then burning will be put off immediately. That's why if any person catches caught fire on his clothes, immediately that person will be wrapped with a blanket to avoid the supply of oxygen to the firing. When there is no air or supporter like oxygen for burning, immediately the fire will be put off. Okay. Now let us see the conditions necessary for the combustion. At which conditions a combustion reaction occurs. We can find this with a simple activity. Take a small burning candle and put it on a table. Invert a glass tumbler over it as shown here. See, a small candle is taken and a glass tumbler is inverted on that. Now what happens? If you observe what happens there, the candle continues to burn for some time. Then it flickers and finally flame goes off. Do you know why? What's happening here? We have taken a candle, we have lighted it, and we kept it on a table. Now we have inverted a glass tumbler over the candle. If you observe what happens after that, the candle continues for few seconds and then it flickers. Finally, flame goes off. Means the candle put off. We find that putting the glass tumbler over the candle cuts off the supply of air and the candle flame goes off. So when we inverted, if you keep an inverted glass over this candle, what is happening? It is completely covered. Now there is no supply of air for this further combustion. As there is no supporter air for combustion, so combustion will be stopped immediately and the candle flame goes off. This experiment proves that air is needed for burning of any material. So from this we can prove that burning of fuels needs oxygen gas supply or air supply. In the presence of air only, this combustion process occurs. If a supply of air is cut, then that flame will be immediately put off. Oxygen present in air supports the combustion. Yes, we told here air is necessary for the combustion of fuels. Actually, the gas present in the air which supports combustion of fuels is oxygen. Oxygen present in air supports combustion. That's why oxygen is called supporter of combustion. It also can be proved with a simple activity. Let us light an scented or incense stick or scented stick, which we call commonly as agarbatti, and let it burn for 10 seconds. Then put out the flame and keep it aside. So what to do? Let us take an agarbatti, light it, let it light for 10 seconds, then put off the flame and keep it aside. Then we can observe smoke will be continuously coming from that with a light flame, with a certain burning at the tip, isn't it, without flame? Now take potassium permanganate in a test tube. Hold the test tube with a test tube holder and heat it over the flame of of spirit lamp or Bunsen burner. We know when potassium permanganate is heated, it produces oxygen gas. Okay, on heating, potassium permanganate releases oxygen. Now, from this, you can understand when potassium permanganate is heated, oxygen gas will be coming out. Now, already we have lighted an incense stick or agarbatti. Now, let us take that agarbatti again. Insert the agarbatti with burning stub into the test tube as shown in the figure here. Okay, if we keep that insert that burning stub of that agarbatti, if we keep at the mouth of this test tube, then what happens? If we observe that is incense stick starts burning with a flame. Why? Because here the oxygen gas produced from this potassium permanganate supports combustion by helping agarbatti to burn with bright flame. From this you can say oxygen supports burning of fuels, and an incense stick rekindles with a bright flame in the presence of oxygen. From this experiment, we can say oxygen supports burning of fuels. In the presence of oxygen only, fuels will continue burning. Oxygen rekindles the agarbatti or incense stick. Okay. Now let us see some more examples for the combustion process. A slow fire bursts into a flame when air is blown on it, but a candle burning with a flame goes off when air is blown on it. And if a large quantity of dry gas is set on a fire in the forest, then it is very difficult to put off the fire. Yes, when dry grass in a large quantity, if it catches fire, putting down that fire is very difficult. Controlling that fire becomes very difficult. That fire will be caught by the big plants and they'll start continuing. So that becomes finally forest fire. It spreads over easily, and controlling it fire becomes very difficult. And one more example for the combustion is when an object catches fire, the fire is put off by covering with a sand or a blanket. This also proves the continuation of burning of a combustible substance needs atmospheric air or oxygen gas. When this object is covered with a sand or blanket while burning, immediately that fire will be put off because there is a supply of air. And these examples and activities which you have seen in the above cases, this all proves that combustion takes place only in the presence of air. That too, specially to say, in the presence of oxygen gas. Combustion needs oxygen gas. Okay. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our YouTube channel Aims Today and visit our website aimstoday.in for latest updates on recorded videos.